It's certainly no surprise that nature is a true spectacle of colors and shapes, and among all the creatures that inhabit our planet, birds are undoubtedly one of the first that come to mind when it comes to attracting attention and standing out in extraordinary ways, whether because of their size, their vibrant colors, or the completely unusual habits that many species display, and that are most often unknown to most people. And with that in mind, we've gathered a list with some of them to present in today's video. 20 strange birds you won't believe exist, Part 3. Helmeted hornbill. Few birds on the planet display such an impressive and curious appearance as the helmeted hornbill. Found mainly in tropical Asia, where it inhabits the dense forests of Borneo and Sumatra, this remarkable bird immediately draws attention because of the large projection on the top of its bill, a solid and heavy structure known as a casque, made of compact keratin and capable of representing up to 10% of the bird's total body weight. Unlike other hornbills, whose casque is hollow and light, that of the helmeted hornbill is completely solid, which gives it not only an imposing appearance, but also serves important functions in territorial disputes and courtship rituals. However, unfortunately, this very feature that makes it so unique often becomes its greatest misfortune, since the solid and dense part of the bill, popularly known as red ivory, is extremely valued in the illegal Asian market, mainly in China and Japan, and its price can even surpass that of elephant ivory, which has led the species to be currently classified as critically endangered. Gray-crowned crane. Easily recognized by its impressive golden crown of feathers on its head, the gray-crowned crane is one of the most elegant birds of the African continent and inhabits regions of swamps, flooded areas, and wet grasslands, where it walks gracefully in search of seeds, insects, and small vertebrates. However, in addition to standing out for its large size and unusual appearance, the gray-crowned crane is also remarkable for its complex dance rituals, with natural choreographies that involve jumps, spins, bows, and synchronized wing movements, accompanied by loud and vibrant sounds that serve not only as a form of courtship, but also as a way of communication and reinforcement of the bonds between pairs, which usually remain together for life. Spoonbill. The common name spoonbill does not necessarily refer to a single specific species, but rather to a genus of birds that includes 6 different species distributed across various parts of the world and distinguished by the unique shape of their bills, which resemble a spatula or spoon, a feature that gave rise to their popular name. Spoonbills are medium to large-sized birds with plumage that ranges from white to pink depending on the species, and they have long, slender legs that are ideal for walking in shallow waters. In addition, these birds are known for their social behavior and are often seen in large flocks, especially during feeding and migration. As for the unique structure of their bill, it plays a crucial role in their feeding habits, since these birds typically feed in shallow waters, moving their bill from side to side as they walk. This flattened and highly sensitive tip allows spoonbills to detect and capture small fish, crustaceans, and aquatic invertebrates, even in murky waters, and it represents an extremely efficient foraging technique that gives these birds a remarkable level of specialization in aquatic ecosystems. Egyptian vulture. You've probably heard of some bird species that stand out for their high level of intelligence. A great example of this is crows, which are capable of using complex tools, planning multiple steps to achieve a goal, and even solving puzzles, like this crow here that completely masters tic-tac-toe. However, crows are not the only ones that stand out when it comes to avian intelligence, and a perfect example of that is the Egyptian vulture, a bird that distinguishes itself not only for its striking appearance, but also for the remarkable intelligence it shows through its behavior. Found in arid and mountainous regions across North Africa, Southern Europe, and parts of Asia, this medium-sized vulture displays white plumage with black wingtips, a bare yellowish face, and a sharp beak adapted for feeding on carcasses and small animals. But what truly makes it remarkable is its ability to use tools, something extremely rare in the bird world. When faced with large and resistant eggs, such as ostrich eggs, the Egyptian vulture carefully selects a stone, holds it in its beak, and throws it repeatedly until the shell breaks, a clear demonstration of reasoning and learning that even astonishes scientists and has earned it the nickname Wise Vulture in many regions. Southern bald ibis. The southern bald ibis is a rare and unmistakable bird, native to the mountainous regions and grasslands of southern Africa, with dark plumage that shows bluish metallic reflections and the top of its head completely bare and reddish. It easily stands out from other bird species, and this peculiar appearance is the result of a natural adaptation, since the absence of feathers on the head makes hygiene easier when feeding on small animals, insects, and carrion, preventing food remains from sticking to the feathers, and it also serves as a biological advantage for heat dissipation, helping the bird cool its body more efficiently. The species lives in groups and usually nests on rocky cliffs, building simple nests made of dry grass and twigs, and unfortunately, the destruction of its natural habitat and the use of pesticides have drastically reduced its population over the years, which has led the species to be currently considered vulnerable to extinction. Crested partridge. Well, if the southern bald ibis, as we've just seen, is known for having no feathers on its head, the crested partridge, the bird we're going to talk about now, certainly makes up for it in style. This small bird, native to the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, and with predominantly black plumage, stands out for displaying a striking red crest on the top of its head, especially prominent in males, which contrasts sharply with a similarly red area on the face, while females, on the other hand, lack the crest and show most of their plumage in shades of olive green, ideal for blending into dense vegetation. The crested partridge is a ground-dwelling bird that spends most of its time foraging among leaves and fallen branches in search of seeds, fallen fruits, and small invertebrates. And although it is quite shy, particularly when it comes to contact with humans, it is considered a social bird, since it usually lives in small groups and emits short, soft calls to communicate. Cassowary. Cassowaries are large, flightless birds found in the tropical forests of Australia, New Guinea, and nearby islands, and are known both for their imposing presence and for their striking features, such as the strange and intimidating sound they can produce. There are currently 3 species of cassowary in the world: the southern cassowary, the northern cassowary, and the dwarf cassowary, each with distinctive traits that make them unique, but all sharing a black plumage with a fascinating touch of vibrant blue on the head and neck, which makes them even more impressive. This blue coloration, combined with red and orange details on their wattles, gives cassowaries an exotic and captivating appearance, and together with their large size, makes them easily recognizable anywhere they are found. Eurasian coot. The Eurasian coot is an aquatic bird with a discreet appearance, yet full of peculiarities. Found in lakes, ponds, and marshes across much of Europe, Asia, and North Africa, this species is easily recognizable by its completely black plumage, which contrasts with its white bill. But what truly stands out in this distinctive bird are its large, greenish legs with long, lobed toes, which are quite different from the feet of most other birds commonly seen around. This remarkable adaptation allows it to walk over floating plants and swim with precision, balancing strength and lightness in a way that few animals can achieve. And despite its calm appearance, the Eurasian coot is a territorial and extremely aggressive bird during the breeding season, bravely defending its area against any intruder that dares to approach its nest or chicks. Pink cockatoo. Among the many species of Australian cockatoos, none combines elegance and personality quite like the pink cockatoo. With white and pink plumage and an impressive tricolored crest, red, yellow, and white, this bird seems to have been designed precisely to attract attention. However, despite its delicate appearance, the pink cockatoo is a temperamental and highly vocal bird, producing loud, harsh calls that echo over long distances. And of course, in some cases, they can also end up getting startled by almost anything. This distinctive bird lives in the arid and semi-arid regions of inland Australia, where it spends most of the day searching for food, such as seeds, roots, and small fruits, and forms long-lasting monogamous pairs that, during the breeding season, usually occupy tree hollows for nesting, and also defend their territory vigorously. Silver pheasant. Found in the tropical and subtropical forests of Southeast Asia, especially in China, Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, the silver pheasant is one of the most elegant and striking birds in the pheasant family. Males are easily recognized by their predominantly white plumage with fine black patterns, bright red face, and long flowing tail that can exceed the length of their own body, while females display more discreet shades of brown and gray, which allow them to blend better into the vegetation. A symbol of elegance and prosperity in several Asian cultures, the silver pheasant is a living representation of harmony and natural beauty, and during the mating season, the male performs complex displays that include spreading his wings, moving his tail, and parading in circles around the female, all in an effort to catch her attention. Andean condor. With predominantly black plumage and a characteristic feathered collar around its neck, the Andean condor is one of the largest flying birds in the world and a true symbol of South America. Found along the mountain ranges of the Andes from northern Colombia to Patagonia, it is recognized for its impressive wingspan and also stands out for its majestic posture and for its bare head, an adaptation that helps it maintain hygiene while feeding on carcasses. However, despite its enormous size, the Andean condor rarely flaps its wings and prefers to take advantage of the rising air currents of the mountains to glide for hours and save energy while patrolling its territory in search of carcasses. Andean cock of the rock. The Andean cock of the rock is one of the most iconic and famous birds of South America, known for its striking appearance and unique courtship behavior. Inhabiting the humid forests of the Andes, especially in Peru, Colombia, and Bolivia, the male displays bright orange plumage and a semicircular crest that covers almost its entire head, giving it an unmistakable appearance. During the breeding season, several males gather in small clearings called leks, performing choreographed movements, wing flaps, and dry clicking sounds to compete for the attention of females, which are brown and discreetly colored, and carefully observe everything before choosing the partner they find most impressive. Beyond its unique beauty, the Andean cock of the rock also holds cultural and ecological importance, since it is considered the national bird of Peru, and because it feeds mainly on fruits, it also plays an important role as a seed disperser in the Andean forests, helping to regenerate vegetation. Giant ibis. Found only in a few remote regions of Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, the giant ibis is one of the rarest and most endangered birds on the planet, and as its name suggests, it is the largest member of the ibis family, capable of exceeding 1 meter in height and weighing more than 4 kilograms. It lives in forested plains near rivers and wetlands, where it feeds on insects, amphibians, small crustaceans, and even snakes, and with its predominantly dark plumage, long neck, and strong, slightly curved bill, it has a solemn and imposing appearance that makes it easily recognizable wherever it is found. However, unfortunately, deforestation, hunting, and the destruction of wetlands have drastically reduced its populations, leaving only a few dozen individuals in the wild, and this makes the giant ibis one of the most critical symbols of conservation in Asia and one of the most endangered birds in the world. Laughing kookaburra. Native to Australia and found in open forests, urban areas, and even residential gardens, the laughing kookaburra is a bird that belongs to the kingfisher family, although it does not have a strong connection to water like other members of the group. This bird lives in pairs or small family groups and is territorial by nature, and it often perches on elevated spots such as exposed branches or poles, from where it quietly surveys its surroundings before swooping down to catch its prey. It has a compact body with brown and white feathers and a large flat bill adapted to capture small animals on the ground, such as insects, rodents, lizards, and even snakes. However, the laughing kookaburra's most distinctive feature lies not in its appearance, but in its vocalization, which can be described as sounding like laughter, and it truly is a strange sound, especially considering that it comes from a small bird. This peculiar call, which resembles a loud, rapid laugh, starts with a deep tone and gradually becomes higher pitched, almost like uncontrollable laughter, and often this sound spreads in chorus when several individuals call together, creating a simply unmistakable sound that can be heard over long distances and serves as a territorial marker and warning signal for the group. SPINIFEX pigeon. Commonly known as the SPINIFEX pigeon, this small and curious Australian bird with a calm temperament has a unique appearance, featuring a compact body, a long pointed crest that rises like a spear over its head, and plumage in various shades that allows it to blend perfectly with the dry, rocky desert landscape. This distinctive bird usually lives in pairs or small groups, and an interesting fact is that, despite inhabiting extremely hot environments, the SPINIFEX pigeon survives with very little water, obtaining most of its moisture from the food it eats, such as seeds and small insects, and therefore it generally approaches water sources only at dawn and dusk. Black heron. Well, if you found the Egyptian vulture's feeding strategy interesting, you'll probably be even more surprised by the bird we're about to show now. Found in wetlands and along riverbanks from south of the Sahara to Madagascar, this is the black heron, a species with an elegant appearance and unique behavior that stands out for its dark plumage and peculiar hunting technique. When searching for food, the black heron spreads its wings over its head, forming a kind of umbrella with its body, creating a circular shadow over the water that reduces sunlight reflection on the surface and attracts fish and small crustaceans beneath the shade, where it captures them quickly and precisely. White-headed duck. We have to admit that so far, we've talked about some truly strange and unusual birds, from birds of enormous size to others with remarkably shaped beaks. And speaking of beaks, now it's time to talk about another bird that has a rather peculiar beak, though in this case it stands out not for its shape, but for its color. We're talking about the white-headed duck, an intriguing aquatic bird that inhabits lakes and ponds in regions of southern Europe, northern Africa, and Central Asia, preferring areas with dense vegetation and deep waters. And it attracts attention not only for its behavior, but also for its unique appearance. One of the most distinctive features of the white-headed duck is its tail, which it often keeps raised even while swimming or resting. In addition, another notable feature of the white-headed duck is its short, broad bill, which turns sky blue in males during the breeding season, contrasting with their white head plumage and predominantly brown body, while females display more subdued tones of gray and brown, along with a distinct dark stripe across the face. Racket-tipped thorntail. Commonly known as the racket-tipped thorntail, this small hummingbird with a distinctive appearance, found in the tropical forests of South America, especially in the Amazon region, where it spends its days feeding on nectar and small insects caught in midair, has one of the most unusual and spectacular looks, not only among hummingbirds, but also among all bird species in the world. This tiny species stands out for the unique shape of its tail, which in males extends and ends in two rounded discs resembling small rackets, used both for display and for balance during flight, while females have a simpler appearance and lack these tail extensions. Stygian owl. With predominantly dark plumage and piercing eyes, this distinctive species, commonly known as the Stygian owl, can be found from Mexico to northern Argentina, inhabiting a variety of environments such as open forests, savannas, forest edges, and even semi-arid areas, always favoring places with scattered trees and an abundance of prey. During the day, it remains motionless on low branches, relying entirely on its dark, streaked plumage to blend into the surroundings and become almost invisible. However, at nightfall, the Stygian owl awakens and begins its hunting activities. And it is precisely during this time that its appearance becomes even darker and more unusual. This is because, depending on the angle at which light hits the bird's face, its eyes can reflect a deep red glow, creating a terrifying look that would certainly frighten anyone who happens to encounter one of these animals in the dark. Bulwer's pheasant. And to finish, let's talk about the Bulwer's pheasant, another truly unusual bird. And in this case, it's impossible to deny that it has a strange and bizarre appearance, almost resembling an alien from another planet. Inhabiting the humid forests of Borneo, Bulwer's pheasant is one of the most exotic and enigmatic birds of Southeast Asia. And for most of the year, the male displays a relatively modest appearance, but everything changes during the breeding season, when the deep blue skin covering its head extends into long, fleshy, hanging appendages that move as the bird becomes agitated. These structures, unique in the world of birds, are part of an elaborate courtship ritual in which the male raises its tail, inflates its chest, and walks in circles before the female, swinging those long, pale blue, fleshy extensions in a hypnotic display. And because they only appear during the breeding season, outside of it, the Bulwer's pheasant returns to a normal look, appearing as a completely different bird. But what about you? Which bird did you find the most surprising and fascinating from this list? Leave a comment below telling us which one impressed you the most. And if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for all the content we bring here. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.